It's Friday night in Bray, and these four men have very unusual plans for the weekend. They're going into a sort of voluntary hibernation until Sunday night in a small room under the old courthouse. It's a mock-up of what would happen in earnest if there was a nuclear war in Europe. That could lead to radioactive fallout over Ireland, and the Civil Defence Force would then be mobilised.
This exercise is the conclusion of a course we've been running over the past 6 weeks for our members of Civil Defence here in Bray. During the course, the subject of refuge rooms came up. It was one of the subjects. And during the discussion on the subject matter, it was felt that not enough experience had been gained in a refuge room. So some of our members volunteered to spend 48 hours, which is the minimum time we would ask members of the public to spend in a refuge room. And we've equipped the refuge room for them for this weekend.
And the equipment is sparse: candles and a torch for light, 2 pints of water each per day, and army rations to eat. What's on the table will have to last one man from Friday night through to Sunday night. And in such a confined space, the only time any of them will have any privacy will be when they're using the chemical toilet. So, the exercise should give valuable information on how to cope with stresses within a group.
Well, I'd say my greatest fear would be a fact sort of halfway through realising that I'm not as good a friend with one of the fellas as I thought I was to start with.
Well, I'm just a little bit nervous about the whole thing, about being locked up for the 48 hours, but I am looking forward to it.
I take it you haven't been locked up for 48 hours before?
No.
What about the food? You're a man with a bit of bulk there, and the food seems very limited.
Well, it's a good time to start my diet.
During their 48 hours in the shelter, the four men will have to fill in questionnaires at regular intervals, noting what they miss most, what their feelings are, and so on. But now, just before the locking up time of 8 o'clock, it's still all something of a novelty.
Okay, we'll see you on Sunday, lads.
To make the exercise as realistic as possible, a simulated RTE emergency broadcast on the hour is being fed down to the men. This is the only outside contact they'll have.
Here is the Civil Defence message. Warning black, fallout is expected to arrive in the Bray area about this time.
It's Saturday morning, and in the Civil Defence headquarters upstairs, the public's being encouraged to look around a small exhibition and hear about the exercise going on in the basement.
We are always, in fact, trying to reach the public. We don't say that we're offering a solution to nuclear war, but certainly we can offer the public advice on how they could, in the event of radioactive fallout, minimise the effects of that fallout.
And how to do that is on show too.
If Ireland's ever threatened by nuclear fallout, this is a simple, but they say effective way of keeping yourself safe. It's called a core shelter. Bags of sand and gravel on top of the kitchen table, and you get underneath it.
8 o'clock on Sunday night, and the 48-hour session is over. The door's opened, and behind it, the tinfoil sheet to keep in the heat is taken down. The reactions of those inside is varied.
It was long, it seemed very long in some parts of the weekend.
Was it a worthwhile experience?
Yes, I felt it was anyway.
What was the worst part of it?
Saturday, I felt Saturday. Between the hours of 4 and 8, I got very down. Not down to the point of saying I want to get out, but it was the lowest point in the weekend for me.
What about the food? Did it hold up for you?
The food was all right. The tea wasn't impressive, but the food was all right.
Was there enough food?
I'm taking back some. I didn't eat all my food, but
so the
that was
dieting
grand.
started.
Oh, the diet has started now officially. Friday night.
The way we had it work, we were 4 hours on, 4 hours off, shift system, so that we could actually listen to the radio broadcast. And then when we were up for meals together, the time seemed to fly by.
Any rows at all?
No, nothing serious. Arguments over the Ludo, but that's about it.
What sort of arguments over the loo?
Ludo. Oh, cheating.
I suppose the best way to describe it is you go back to a very rural way of life, and like in Odyssey, you've no lights, and people actually talk to each other again.
I see a noose hanging up here. What's the reason for the noose?
In case anybody spills their water.
If this were the real thing, the radiation level would now be low enough outside for the civil defence volunteers to begin helping the public cope with the aftermath of a nuclear war.
I think it's in everybody's mind that this is a very strong possibility at some time in our future, and that we should prepare for it at home and make the proper arrangements here in Ireland. Even if we don't get a direct hit, this is necessary that we should know something about it.
Obviously, it would be very difficult to cope with a direct hit, but in a fallout situation, yes, we feel in County Wicklow that the type of training we are doing and this type of exercise clearly demonstrates that there could be a very substantial element of survival in a fallout situation.
So a lot of people might survive, but whether they'd like the type of life they'd have to lead from then on is another question.